So this is all thought crimes. This is all thought police. You have to think like I do. And if you have different thoughts, we're going to make them illegal. This is right out of 1984. There's this MAGA Christian musician, rock musician, and they tried to ban him from performing in Canada. A MAGA-affiliated musician's concert draws condemnation from City of Montreal, but goes ahead as planned. City says church didn't have the authorization to host concert and fines at $2,500. Well, that's like $100 American, right? Really, Canada really pushing the limits of what your population will tolerate without the firearms to do anything about it.
Yeah, turns out a lot.
Here's Brian Lilly says, this is unreal. An actual quote from the Montreal's mayor office. Quote, freedom of expression is one of the fundamental values, but it's one of our fundamental values. But hateful and discriminatory speech is not accepted in Montreal. And so, again, it's just so a fundamental value is speech you agree with. You're all for that. But the speech you don't agree with, you're going to censor.
I like that.
How brave.
The first, I believe speech that I agree with is a fundamental right.
Yeah, that's right. So speech that I agree with. That's what this is. Hatred will not be tolerated in Montreal, Kurt, unless, of course, you speak English instead of French. Then they're going to lock you up and force feed you poutine until you pronounce it correctly.
I love some poutine.
So what happened? What is there a video? I hope there's video in here. Let's watch. Oh, there's not video of the cops. Here's the cops. Watch. Police forcibly enter a church where American Christian artist and pastor Sean is set to perform tonight. He was canceled for being MAGA. COVID-19 flashbacks. Anyone? You want to see this? Here we go.
Et on a déjà inventé cette clause des autres publics. N'importe quel de ces policiers-là qui veut empêcher une célébration religieuse ou des films pour être sûr qu'ils sont loin sur caméra sont passibles de 2 ans de prison. Selon l'article 176 de Alors, regardez bien leur visage.
So this is cops going into a church. Going into a church because they're going to have a Christian rock singer that they don't like. They don't like his message. That's what's happening right here. And they're doing it in French. And if you ask Grok, hey, Grok, did this happen and why? Yes, this occurred on July 25th in Montreal. Sean Flick's original venue was canceled due to his pro-Trump MAGA views conflicting with local officials' values of inclusion. So this is all thought crimes. This is all thought police. You have to think like I do. And if you have different thoughts, we're going to make them illegal. This is right out of 1984. But they're using 1984 George Oswald as a how-to manual. They don't think it's bad. They think it's good that you should try to control people's thoughts. And the way to do it is control their freedom of expression. You control their words, and so that controls their thoughts.
Wait, Jimmy, this is an American artist, correct?
This is an American artist.
Why would Canada even have an opinion on who you support in the election of the country you're from, number one? Number two, do you remember when Jim Morrison would get in trouble for whipping his dong out? And that's when the cops used to come to your show because you showed dong.
Yeah.
Now being a church... Some church music that like Trump is why they come. That's incredible. That's complete inversion.
It said he relocated to a church. Police entered amid protests, citing permit issues and public order. Echoes of COVID era restrictions on worship. That's according to Grok. That's what Grok is saying. This guy is singing Christian worship songs in a Christian church. They aren't pointing to anything he has said that would break any laws or anything else. They just don't like his politics. Montreal says it will fine the church after MAGA superstar concert goes ahead without permit. They're really Canada has lost their frickin' collective minds. But I gotta tell you what, I was in Montreal recently, and we had a theater full of people show up. and they don't go along with this stuff. So again, this is just not all the people, just like not all Jews are Zionists. Most of the Jews I know aren't. Most of the people I know in Montreal don't go for this. But I guess enough of them do that this stuff is happening.
Mark Carney's got elected, so a significant amount.
That's right. So let me get this straight, Sean said. This is him. He says, you canceled our permit for a peaceful outdoor worship gather for no reason. You threatened a church on private property to not have church. You sent a battalion of police to intimidate us. Antifa throws 2 smoke bombs at my head inside the church, and you do nothing. Now you want to fine the church for doing what church does, worship. Every Canadian should be embarrassed and concerned about this. No bigger scandal in Canada. So you want to see where they threw
That's not true. They saluted a Nazi. I mean, what do you expect?
Yeah. So here, let's see. So yeah, here it is. Freedom of expression is one of our fundamental values, but hateful and discriminatory speech is not accepted. So you're not for freedom of, so it's not a value. Freedom of expression, you're allowed to express the ideas that we like. And you're not allowed to express the ideas that we don't. So you're not for freedom of expression. You're for a controlled and censored expression. So I just love what people say. I'm for freedom of expression is a fundamental value, as long as I agree with what you're saying.
Yeah, that's great.
He's an American who is also a missionary and an author. So he's a super religious nut himself, and he's an author, and he has expressed anti-diversity, anti-2SLGBTQ plus. Jesus, HF. Is
that a food additive? Is that the petroleum in the cereal?
And anti-women's rights views on his platforms. You're allowed to have anti-women's rights. You're allowed to have any kind of view you want.
Wait, which kind of women? Dick ladies or regular kind?
You're right. And this is from the CBC. That's who's saying this, by the way. I'm not saying this. In recent days, has dealt with several cancellations on his Canadian tour, including in Quebec City. Following the cancellation, and by the way, if you don't want to see a comedian that's not canceled, this Sunday I'll be in Oxnard, California, at the Levity Live Comedy Club, and then I'm going to be in Calgary, Edmonton, and Vancouver. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for those tickets. Following the cancellation in Quebec, he announced that he had found an alternate venue, Iglesia MR in Montreal's Plateau Montreal borough. When asked specifically why the city would try to cancel the show, Cadet specified that the church did not have the permits to use its venue for a show. The City of Montreal has since fined the church $2,500 for hosting that concert. There's something very Vichy about this Francophilic government up there. We are a far cry from the revolutionaries who inspired the birth of America. So here, just ahead of the 7 p.m. start, who was preparing to enter the church didn't appear troubled by the city's requirements for a permit. This is not a performance. It's a church service, he said. I don't think you need a permit to worship inside of a church. Freud, however, took the stage inside the church and began singing, accompanied by several musicians as worshipers swayed along to the music. Really? Were they swaying to the music, or were they swayed by the music? That's the problem. I think that's the part they're afraid of, Kurt. Meanwhile, a crowd gathered outside in protest, banging spoons and pots and pans amid a heavy police presence in the area. Montreal police confirmed the arrest of a 38-year-old man for obstructing the work of an officer. He was released and promised blah, blah, blah. Police also confirmed that a smoke bomb was thrown inside the church, but no arrests or charges were laid. Really? And here it is. Here's what's happening. Antifa ran inside the church mid-set and threw 2 smoke bombs at my face while police watched. Good thing I lead worship in Canada with my eyes open. Missed me. So you want to see it? Here it is. Wow, purple smoke. I'm pretty sure the alphabet community is going to sue for intellectual property rights infringement, right? So I don't know how he could be so sure it was Antifa. So when you go to church, they have music. So why every church I've ever been has music? Why can't they have music at their church? I'm sure
Honestly, Jimmy, the smoke bomb made it a concert. It was a worship service until the smoke.
The smoke bomb made it a concert.
Yeah.
When Freud announced his Canadian tour, he stated in a promotional video that he had made it his mission to save Canada and that through him, hundreds of believers would be freed, healed, and delivered. Since Wednesday, the singer has had his permits to perform revoked in other Canadian cities, including Halifax, Charlottetown, Moncton, Gatineau, and Vaughan, Ontario. Really? We did well in Ontario.
Did you heal or free or deliver anyone?
Hey, here's an awkward question for Canada. How many flat-out satanic music groups are permitted to go through?
All of them.
Right? They aren't too hateful, right?
The Rolling Stones banged the Canadian First Lady when they came into town.
Yes.
Justin Trudeau's mom.
So,
Fidel Castro can run up in the First Lady.
So is Canada, are they treating all religions this way? I mean, obviously, if a music group is promoting Zionism, they will receive the same treatment, right? Or how about Muslims? If they want to have a prayer circle right in the middle of the street, will you shut that down as well? I mean, come on. You're not isolating Christianity because you're all a bunch of power pedos secretly worshiping Moloch. Am I right?
Well, see, here's what I don't get with that theory. He's from Bob Jones University, so he should be, that's a Christian Zionist all the way, that school. That's classic George W. Bush era religious school, Bob Jones. Remember they sent the people to like Iraq that worked there?
Yeah.
So did somebody get their wires crossed in the shadow government that this guy, or is this like a big show? You know, because all you're doing, first of all, if a guy's religious and he goes, I'll be healing and delivering people, and then you send the cops, you have just legitimized him.
100%.
He would just be a very, now I've never heard it, maybe it's amazing, but my guess is it's some pretty mid by musical standards music and a guy who's born again. So it's a big meh. But now we're reporting it because that's outrageous what they did. So they've done nothing but help that guy, you know?
Yeah, this is just like that Bob Villain. This is the same thing. Bob Villain's music is killing it on the charts ever since the BBC censored him, and they tried to prosecute him for saying Palestine will be free. And death to the IDF. That's so. It's when they. So this is the same thing with this guy. I never heard of this guy. Now I did. Now everybody who watches this video has heard of him.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't even enjoy any of his shit. But now I'm like, why would you need cops to stop someone from doing that? It's already
inside of their church. They're going to stop a guy from singing Jesus songs.
I mean, look, I understand people aren't like super religious all over Quebec. But surely they recall how this works when you do this with churches. I mean, just they're somewhat literate, aren't they?
You would think.
You persecute. That's how Christianity grew originally, is doing this.
I think that's it. I think that's it. Yeah, that's the whole story. So we'll see you in Ontario Sunday, and then we're going to be in Canada, Edmonton, Calgary. Oh, what did I say? Oh, I'm sorry. We'll be in Oxnard this Sunday, August 3rd, and then we're going to be in Calgary, Edmonton, and Vancouver. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets. Come see us in Oxnard, California, Rutherford, New Jersey, Manhattan, New York, Edmonton, Calgary, Vancouver, Appleton, Wisconsin, Rosemont, and Chicago, Illinois. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets.